This is Michael Wilson. We're looking at the question, are asylum seekers here legally or not? Now, there's a lot of confusion around this issue, and many people say, well, asylum seekers are here legally, and so you just can't kick them out. Well, that's not a humane thing to do. Well, an important consideration from the Bible concerns the general responsibilities of government, and that's to seek the good of nations that they rule. We find that in Romans 13, verses 1 to 7, and 1 Peter 2, 13 and 14. Look it up. And so to truly serve as God's servants for your good, Romans 13:4, this means that the immigration policies of a nation should be designed to bring benefit to that specific nation. And so the purpose of seeking the good of the nation is also reflected in the opening paragraph of our Constitution of the United States, where the purpose of the new government included ensuring domestic tranquility and providing for the common defense and promoting the general welfare. So the government of the United States was established so that it would do good for the nation and these in many other ways. So this is relevant to our immigration laws and procedures. So are asylum seekers here legally or not? Well, no, they are not. This is the simple fact. It is illegal to enter the United States without authorization, as all the border jumpers do when they wade across the Rio Grande into Texas. Again, it is not legal to do that. Wading across the Rio Grande is not a legal way to enter the United States. Such an offense is punishable by up to 6 months in prison. That's U.S. law. A second offense, that is doing it again after being returned to Mexico following a first offense, as many migrants do, is punishable by up to 2 years behind bars. So if you run across the border and you don't stop and talk to an official, that's entering without inspection. And that is a federal offense, and you can be prosecuted for that. It is a criminal law, so you're breaking the law, and that has no bearing whether you're trying to seek asylum or not. There is no defense in the law as it is written that says, I was coming in to seek asylum. So every alien who enters the United States illegally is removable. In fact, they receive what's called a notice to appear. It's a charging document in a removal proceeding. There's like an indictment in a criminal case. So the charge is that they are removable under US law and that they are here without permission. The border jumpers are also using an asylum claim as a defense against deportation. They can't even make the asylum claim until they're in removal proceedings for having entered illegally. So illegal border crossers are in removal proceedings. Why they're in removal proceedings? Because they entered the US illegally. So given that, why do so many people believe the border jumpers followed US law when they crossed into the Rio Grande? Well, perhaps some simply have no idea what they're talking about, and that's my sense. Others are likely confused by other parts of US law that allow immigrants to apply for asylum. And so law says any alien who is physically present in the US or arrives, whether it's in a designated port of arrival or not, may apply for asylum. The border jumpers definitely did not arrive at a designated port of arrival. Because of that, whether or not provision, defenders say the immigrants were still following the law. Well, no, they weren't. Here's the simplest way to look at it. The immigrants entered the US illegally. So once here illegally, they were placed into removal proceedings. In those proceedings, some will claim asylum, which they have a legal right to do. A small number of them will be granted asylum. A much larger and far, in a way, the largest number of them will be denied asylum, at which point, if the US law were enforced, they would be removed from the country. But never at any time was their entry into the U.S. legal. And so, even while claiming asylum, which is allowed by law, the fact is the overwhelming majority of illegal border crossers will not receive asylum. Most are coming in hopes of getting a job and making more money than is possible in their homeland. I don't blame them. That's something that any person would want to do. The point is, it must be done legally, and God supports that. And so the Biden administration knows that millions of would-be immigrants are crossing illegally into the U.S., and the vast number of them have no claim to remain in the country. That would seem to call for a major effort to reduce the flow of illegal border crossings. This is straightforward. It is irresponsible of the federal government and flies in the face of how our nation was created to allow hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants to enter when recent experience shows once released, more than half will not actually be filing for the asylum application. And those who do, half will skip out of the court hearings. And those who do complete the process, only 10% are found eligible for asylum. So teeny tiny fraction actually can get an asylum status. So allowing the abuse of this system in this way is important, is imposing huge cost on American communities. If you don't believe it, watch TV where they actually show you what's going on in border towns, but also watch what's going on in Michigan, where thousands of people are being killed from fentanyl. The integrity of our system must be protected. And so here's one thing that I think is settled. Illegal border crossers who wade across the Rio Grande or walk across the border at other points away from ports of entry are breaking U.S. law. That is not even a question.